Well, this is probably one of the most exciting projects that we've had in Knoxville in quite some time. It's called The Secret Garden, and the project is based upon the book The Secret Garden that was written by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And she wrote the book The Secret Garden, which just about everybody's read, especially as young children. We've all been either read it or it's been read to us. And the garden is based off of that concept. But also the fact that the author spent a significant amount of her time here as a child and as a young lady who was a very prolific writer here in Knoxville, living in 3 different locations, eventually ending up on Riverside Drive down on the river. The Secret Garden book was actually published in 1911, and her time in Knoxville was prior to that. And we all want to think and hope that maybe some of the seeds from this area were implanted in her that maybe led to some of the things that appeared in the Secret Garden itself. And we had another lady that loved the gardens and was a very adamant supporter and always wanted us to build the Secret Garden. And she passed away. Her name was Andy Ray, and she loved gardening and she loved the botanical gardens. And I think it was always her wish that the Secret Garden would happen here at the Botanical Gardens. Upon her passing, there was a lot of interest generated from friends and family being able to put something not only in memory of Andy, but also in memory of the author of the book, The Secret Garden. And it just, everything fell into place. And I became very passionate about putting it here and finding that place out here for that to be. And so it all came together. The book itself has several different images that become very important in the role of the story. It's the story of a healing garden, of a little girl who was orphaned. As you go through the door to the Secret Garden, which is a very prominent feature in the book, then the garden kind of opens before you, as well as the story. I was very excited to have the opportunity to build the door itself and to make that part of my contribution to the Secret Garden. The door to the Secret Garden, which to me is one of the most significant parts, is something that I took on as my own project. So I'm developing a door with local woods, and we have a metalsmith doing some hinges, but it will be very reflective of the actual door that we think represented the book and the images that we've seen from the book and the illustrations. Well, the garden itself is quite large. It'd be about half the size of a football field. So it's a very large garden. I think that kind of gives people kind of a perspective of what it looks like. It'll be multi-dimensional. It'll have concrete pathways throughout the garden. So from each point in the garden is actually designed so that you get different perspectives as you walk along. The robin redbreast actually keyed Mary into and had dialogue with Mary that allowed her to be able to find the keys that actually opened the secret door. So that was a specific role and a very important part of the book, which will be represented in the garden itself with statuary. We'll have statuary of lots of the different characters that played an important role into the book itself.
The Knoxville Botanical Garden and Arboretum really dates back over 200 years. In 1786, when David Howe in North Carolina received a land grant for his service to the American Revolutionary War. He came to this area, he farmed this land, and started an orchard. Later on, he sold plants and food to the people that lived around this area. We are making milestones in trying to get the word out that we are a botanical garden and arboretum that is up here on this beautiful ridge that is full of serenity, a place of beauty, a place to relax, a place to see history and to continue the legacy of the Howe Nurseries.
The Howes, who this property was developed from 1786 until the late 1990s, I think will just be amazed and very pleased that while it's not a nursery, I think their love of plants and the number and the nature of the plants that we'll have, I think they would be very happy to be able to see this property taking on different relevance and being preserved and honoring the history that they had for so many hundreds of years here. We have some very unique opportunities. It'll be a much different garden than what you see around you here at the Botanical Gardens. This will be more of a formal garden. Formal gardens require a lot more maintenance, so we're hoping that down the road that this garden itself will loan itself to being able to educate students into formal gardening techniques. And then we're hoping that eventually we'll be able to entice some students that want to come in and learn that and learn about that kind of gardening to be able to actually come here and practice their techniques and learn their techniques right here. And will open up us a great opportunity to do some programming for the community in formal gardens and maintenance and development of formal gardens. So we're looking at some really positive things going forward. And we do think that attendance will just grow in numbers once this gets in and people are able to discover it for the first time. A lot of places around, you're starting to see these little micro libraries pop up in different communities. And we're going to actually have that here because the garden is so tied around the Secret Garden book. We do think that that will be an important part of where people can come, pull a book out, maybe read, take it with them, bring it back, or put it back in the library for the next person. And we think that we'll have several of her books in that little library itself. It'll be a great place to come and read. There are very few secret gardens that are actually open to the public, not only through the United States, but through the whole world. There's basically one in England. This will be the only one in the United States that's completely open to the public, no charge. And most secret gardens are done privately, so they have very limited ability for people to actually go see them. So this will be open for everyone to be able to come see. So we're hoping that it'll become a very big attraction for gardeners or garden enthusiasts to be able to come, or just bring your family and relive the story of the Secret Garden here in East Tennessee.
It will emulate the book, and so I think people will be pleased. It will bring them back to their childhood, and if they haven't read it, they will just be absolutely overwhelmed with the beauty and the design that has gone into this. So it will be something of pride and joy that we can give back to this community, and they will be able to enjoy it for years to come.
And the garden is going to be one of those things that will grow together as it goes on. The day that it's open will be one image, but as it goes on from year one and year two, and things come in and things change, so it's a very dynamic process. So I don't look at it as a project that'll have an ending date, but one that will just continue onward.